Good morning. Well, excuse me. I need a drink of water here. Well, I guess it's all on perspective, whether it's good or not. I like it. Anyway, so I think we have a bull trap confirmation here. Just need to push it over the edge here and over the cliff. I think it could be a difficult day, considering how much prices have moved. Yeah, let me turn that back on there. Give it a second to come up. You should have it. All right. So as you can see, that breakout that occurred on Friday right into resistance turned out to be a bull trap. The interesting part about it is how it rallied right into the close in the last half hour or so of the day on Friday. And it certainly did look like it was going higher. You know, one thing to realize about patterns, whether it's some kind of a buy setup, a climactic sell setup, a breakout, any of them, we don't know that they're going to work. We don't know a breakout is going to successfully break out, or a potential bull trap pattern or bear trap pattern is going to work until after the fact. What we do is we look at trends in multiple time frames. We see the location of a potential breakout or a potential bull trap and say the probability of this happening is excellent. I'm not going to put a percentage on it because who the hell knows percentage wise. We don't have statistics of that. Market environments change. And from one point to another, you know, to say statistically that this pattern or this candlestick does such and such, from my perspective, is ridiculous. Anyway, looking at the move up that occurred here off of the low after this giant decline and into this area up here, the probability of that being a bull trap was reasonably good. Now, I could have gone up to the 200, which I mentioned over the weekend in the advisory letter and in videos, but this could have turned into a bull trap, and now it has, and it's followed through today, whether it's because of gasoline going negative yesterday or who knows. You know, what in a news-driven market, what ticks it off? You know, it's kind of a moving target. So anyway, I'd say it's probably going to be more of a difficult day, I think, because to crack this support now is, you know, what I say, here's the heavy lifting. So for the bulls, the heavy lifting being up here to get through this resistance area, and they were doing a damn good job of it right here. Right. Tried to move up, red bar down deep, no follow through, back up again, and now the breakout. And if it could have cleared that, it could have pushed up higher, but it didn't. And now it's where does it actually follow through? Does it follow through? Another pattern that this could develop into is an upward shakeout. And what that is when you have prices, a consolidation, and it breaks out and comes all the way back down to support, it holds that support. And by holding that support, that's buyers' second chance to save the day. And what we'll be looking for here, whether intraday and over the next day or two, is whether they can actually hold this support. And if they can hold it here, even let's say a couple of days. A lot of times we look for symmetry and patterns and say, oh, well, it was 3 or 4 days here. If it's 3 or 4 days over there, well, that could just be what I'll call a mind trap for traders to look for perfection in price patterns. Let's just say it goes sideways for a couple of days over here. And that could be the start of a turnaround. But if it can't rally, if we see that it goes up and we get a topping tail bar, say tomorrow, even if this turns out to be a green day today and it rallies up to the top and it looks like, oh, we're going to go up, and the next day is a red bar back down, those are the signs that we'll be looking for, that sellers are solidly in control over here, even though it's at support. And then that would open up the door to the downside. So that's why I say I think it could be difficult today. There may be long opportunities. There may, for this to bounce back up. And of course, there'll be sell opportunities as it reaches resistance. But as it gets caught at this level, as it is for the moment, we could see how far it bounces up. And so we're going to kind of look to collect information here to see what the odds are of things moving up or the lack thereof. And we've talked about the fact that the weekly is in a downtrend. It sliced through all of this support. It's at this area of congestion right here, these overlapping opens and closes. So it's in the perfect area to form a reversal and possibly do a retest pattern. We don't know. But as this develops on a smaller time frame, we'll get clues into that. And actually the sideways price action here, if that is what's in the cards to develop, it can actually help the bearish case or bias, meaning that as prices go sideways here, correcting through time or building a new area of price resistance supply, it moves further away from the support area, which is going to weaken it. Well, think about it from a common sense point of view, which we like to do, is that if prices were to say, let's just say today, right? And we're thinking maybe they go sideways here, it's difficult. But let's just say today they go like this, boom, straight down, some crazy move. Do you think buyers are going to show up over here after a fast move like that? I say, I bet you they do in droves, because the move is so fast down to that support level, and that support level being relatively close to the left, that yes, they're going to step up there. How far they can take it higher? Well, we don't know. So that's why when prices get down there, like if they do, and we see a pattern, maybe something like this, we're going to buy and see how far it goes. And we assess the situation. That's what active traders do. We look for patterns that suggest an event, right? Move up into price resistance, we look for an event. So I mentioned bull trap over the weekend. We have that. Now we look for the next event, right? Is it sideways and down? Is it a miracle? Sideways and up at this point? We need to collect that information and see. Right now, we've got the start of, well, a potential move to the downside, and we've got a weekly chart that's a sell setup. And today's only Tuesday. We'll see what that looks like on Friday. Right? Is it down here at that prior week's low? Whatever it might look like, we'll, again, we'll assess that as that develops. Right? A time correction is bullish. Well, yes and no, Tony. It's more bullish than just collapsing here. However, we know that upward shakeouts have time corrections, and then they go down. Remember, this is the bearish event in alignment with a sell setup on a weekly and an area of resistance. So any correction through time theoretically should evolve into a move to the downside. But we don't know. We'll see what happens. Right? We look at patterns and say, well, here, you know what? We don't even have a sell setup. We had something intraday yesterday, which we did because our bias was this was potentially going to be a bull trap, and things started off bearishly, so on and so forth. Now it's at support. We'll see what's going to develop here. At times, patterns develop and they're just jumbled up candlesticks, and we just stay away. So at this point, we've moved from resistance to a short-term support point, and why I say I think it could be a difficult day where things could be choppy, but we'll see how it evolves. And Qs, they have room to fall. They're on some support here, right? Those bottoming tails right there, and this low that has formed right over here, right? That little, if I can click on that little low right there that developed earlier. It's trying to hold here, but this has got room to continue to fall to its support level. So the market that was showing relative strength may play some catch up on the downside. How much relevance do you give to overnight small volume in terms of actual numbers of buyers? I have to look at it, Paul, but I'll just use the term with less respect for the day chart, meaning futures traders are going to be looking at what happened overnight as a reference point. They are, excuse me, let's just say that they're relatively small to the rest of the world that's looking at what's happened, let's just say, over here, right? So it's the same support point over here, you know, as we look to the left here, as we're looking at the S&P chart, it's the same reference point, but what happened in between these gaps here will come into some play by futures traders because they're looking at that chart with a belief that, oh, you know, that's support, that's resistance. But in any case, what chart we're looking at, when we see a bearish pattern in a downtrend in multiple time frames, our assumption is that support is going to be violated. So, you know, it becomes a little subjective, if you will, to say, is this going to hold or not? We have to build a case based on objective information to say, yes, I believe that support level will be violated. And then we see what happens. That's what every trade is. I believe this is going to happen. And now I'm going to place a trade and I'm going to see what's going to happen. And my money management will save me if I'm wrong from any catastrophic losses, right? So those that are somehow caught in this oil catastrophe, which I tell you I don't fully understand, but I know it's all this leverage situation. Actually looking at this at minus $40 yesterday, how you trade that is beyond me. How you buy negative numbers, it's never happened before. So I don't know what these people are doing, but how you buy and sell something at a negative number and in a commodity that has no value, it's all, I guess, based on leverage. And, you know, the big brains created this and now it's come home to roost for some of them. But here's, you know, the next month with the real price, you know, which is around $14. So I think ultimately, while this is getting the market to drop at this point in time, I think it has to be a very bullish thing long-term, because gasoline, petroleum products are a huge part of what is made, and the cost going down has to be a huge plus. Interest rates are low, commodity prices are low. You know, the market going down makes stocks relative to interest rates attractive. So we'll get through this. And if there is a big retest pattern coming, you know, somewhere down here, I think it'll be an opportunity. But hey, that's just based on beliefs. We'll see what actually happens, right? Everybody can have an opinion. All right, let's just look at a few other things here and then I can turn it over to Dan. Dow is weaker here, and it's kind of tickling under that support. As you can see, we've got the sell set up. So relative weakness here, you know, is it Boeing? Is it whatever in the Dow? Whatever. We've got one market here that's already confirming the break of that support. So that adds to the bias. Yes, things can eventually break down and go lower. The Russell's showing some relative strength here, going sideways. I know yesterday I said it looks more like a bull flag type of a pattern that could possibly hold. You know, so we'll actually see. We always keep an eye on all of these markets and see, you know, do they hold support? Does one hold support while another is breaking? And kind of read the tea leaves, kind of say, well, where's the weight of the evidence? Already looked at crude oil. Bonds are up here, now up at resistance. Right? Last week we were looking for this to hold. Now it's moved up to resistance. The sellers want to show up here. Weekly actually looks pretty bullish. Right? So consolidation after this crazy up and down looks like it can go higher, which means, right, interest rates are going lower, which is, you say, okay, that makes sense. You know, nobody's doing any business around the world. or some business. So interest rates going down, there's no demand for money. It all makes sense, which makes things, oil's cheaper, commodities cheaper, stocks cheaper, interest rates cheaper. So unless we're going into a depression, all of that ends up being bullish eventually. At what level does it become bullish is, I guess, the $64,000 question. Gold, and coming back down, I said this was a deep retracement. So at this point, I don't know what it'll do, but you got this big down day here, but I'd still be interested to be a buyer if it was to come down into this level over here around 1600. And I think that's about it. I mean, you guys, transports obviously weak, airlines, right? Where the airlines are going to get a whole bunch of money. I think that's what came across the news today. We'll see how that helps them. Gold, silver, cracking here to the downside. We'll see if that holds, but obviously weak, big red bar. And I think that's about all we need from me, Dan. Everything else we copper. I can see OPX. Copper holding up fairly well here. It's down 13 bucks. So that same kind of higher low, higher high pattern into a downtrend in multiple time frames. So it'd just be another confirmation of copper going down, that weakness for the markets, and we could start looking at an aluminum and palladium and who knows what else, but I don't think we need to look at too much to have confirmation that some type of correction action is starting here. And let's see how far it goes and what we can take advantage of. I think that's why we're here. All yours, Dan.
Sounds like a plan. Good morning. Let's look at, yeah, Gangan. Yeah, I just adjusted it. Yeah, it's right here, WDC. So, moved it a few, dime or so over this 15-minute pivot. Maybe 5-minute high will take some gains. Yeah, Sting. Yeah, we'll look at all those opens here real quick. Weekly TDOC put spread still looks good. Zoom call spread, IWM call spread. So that's it on the weekly options trader. On the swing APA, that triggered yesterday, even with the bearish gap down. So we're long that with the original stop. Cisco triggered, not liking today's gap down. We'll look to leg into a covered call on that. IWM, we have a bear put debit spread. Michael Jackson, we had marijuana day yesterday, 420 day. We're long that, and his cousin Tilray covered call, and finally WDC. Greg found that for us yesterday. Looked great. M-top breakout failure, sell setup daily, and that's it. That's it for the opens. IWM, yep, had earnings. Yeah, it's a bearish gap. This prior low, right? Yeah, 114. It's gapping right under the prior low. Sure. I could see 110 or lower. So that's definitely a watch. Sure. I'll put that in a 5-minute window. All right, let's just go. I got there's a lot of earnings and gappers. Yeah, IWM, I like it too. What do we got here? Life, 355, bullish gap. I don't know if this is a Corona stock or bio or whatever. We'll come back to it. Stay is one of these beat up hotels I was looking at last Thursday on this beautiful bar, price void. And anything up, with a big market down is relative strength. There's not a single Dow component green. So beat up little hotel here. I'll keep an eye on. Hertz, the rent-a-car company. That's just a picture of pain. Daily, weekly, monthly just look horrible. And they were in the news, furloughing, laying off, whatever, 10,000 people. Save and a local Broward County airline. Junk service, in my opinion, but nevertheless, airlines have been having a hard time. They're in the news. The paper said I think we're trying to get a loan. You know, I forget how much, doesn't matter, but no pattern. Shack, again, was in the news yesterday. It did not take the money from the government, and, you know, beat up restaurant. If it can get over yesterday's high, price void, target 55. So I like that one. IBM put spread Gango on IBM? No. Call spread. Oh, credit. Well, yeah, call spread. Yeah. If you can get, you know, go through the checklist. So pick the strikes, you know, see if they're liquid, but I like the pattern, definitely. This is just a big mess. Wow. Gapping down to 410. That's a 50% haircut. Look at that. Went to $19 yesterday. That's what you get when you trade bios. Wow. Cara was up higher coming in here, but it's a bullish gap breakout. We'll see. Glog, one of these shipper things. So I like that one. Look at the volume. This is a wide range igniting bar from consolidation. That looks good. Beyond was showing relative strength yesterday. Up 9 and change here pre-market. Sting. I wish I got us into this one yesterday. This, I mentioned pre-market, was my favorite of the shippers. You know, coming out of this bottoming pattern, I like the 20 curling up and converging 50. And I think it has room to the 200, but now darn it, can't chase. Tango Kilo, that's the third one I liked. Gap up, wide range igniting, target. See, now it's at my target. You know, right there, the high 4s was my target. Watt, nice reverse head and shoulder bottoming pattern above the 20, but the gap's too big. But for the gap, this would have been a good swing trade over yesterday's high. But nothing to do with it now. USO, yeah, we'll continue to follow this oil story. You know, I read something this morning, which Greg, I sent it to you. I'm like, whoa, this is news to me. That they said it is the short seller's obligation whether to impose delivery or not. And I'm like, what? If I buy the contract, I want my merchandise. So I don't know. I still got to research, but I was still watching very intelligent futures commodities traders, and they were still just shaking their head too. Nobody has come out, in my opinion, and just laid it out in common sense terms for us to understand. What do we got here? Oh, LMT at earnings, gapping up $5, but no pattern. Zoom, we have a call spread. Look at this shop. Wow. What a move off the lows. Incredible. I think we actually did a put spread on this 180 reversal right here. Look at this 15-minute chart. Even though the daily is way extended, the 15's not. This still looks higher. Incredible. Northern Trust had earnings, gapping down. That could be a call spread candidate. OMC, it's a big mess. You're going. PCAR gapping down 64. Call spread candidate, 30-minute low. PLD is sloshing around pre-market. We'll come back to you. Papa Mike, gapping. That's a big gap for Papa Mike. Wow. We'll come back to you. SITC, no pattern. EMR, we'll come back to you. The reason I say come back is I'm looking for tier 1 setups, which I define as the multiple time frames look like they're ready to rock and roll. Hey, what's this one that I loved yesterday into the close? Here you go. CWH. Look at that. It's gapping up. Remember? So this one I like. That's the best looking thing I've seen. That looks great. Big old W bottom, then moved up at resistance. It's a closing breakout. Relative strength. Market, pre-market here has finally got a bid and moving up. Wow, I'm tempted to nibble pre-market, but I'm not. But that's the best looking setup I've seen on the long side. Doe had earnings, no pattern. CMA gapping down. There's no pattern. So you jumped in. Yeah, that was one of the best things we saw yesterday. SIT earnings gapping down. It was a bottoming pattern. Hey, Alex, remember you were busting my chops yesterday of this stock not having earnings? This was another one of my #1 bullish setups today, but the gap's messing it up. Why is there kind of reverse head and shoulders, breakout, rising 20, price void, bottoming tail, range expansion? This was just beautiful. I don't care if they don't make earnings or not. It's not my problem. Hexel, that's a descending triangle. So Alex, remember you also made fun of my trend lines, but it's just to show the lower pivot highs, the horizontal support. It means the sellers are getting more aggressive. So when the buyers give it up, that's going lower. So that's going on my short watch list. HXL. EFX, your garbage. Ludwig, FWONK. It's a bottoming pattern. I mean, I don't like this resistance here to the left. It'd be more of a put selling candidate versus directional over yesterday's high. So yeah, on a put spread. CDNS, maybe